All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. This is a joyous moment. Welcome to the city's webinar for DeSoto's Down Payment Assistance Program. This is a new program that the city is rolling out. But before we get started, I'd just like to say that I'd like to give thanks to our city council members. This is a council initiative, and without their insight and support, we would not be able to deliver this program to residents. So before we get started, I'd also like to welcome our mayor, who I see that she's on, Mayor Rachel Proctor. I also see our city manager, Brandon Wright, is on. And I'd also like to welcome all of our attendees. This program is open to everyone today, and we hope to answer all of your questions about the down payment assistance program. Today's panelists will include two of our CDBG consultants. We will have Robert Joyner, who is a CDBG consultant with JQuad Planning Group, James Gillian, who is also our CDBG consultant with JQuad Planning Group, Pamela Garcia, who is a homeowner specialist with Business Community and Lenders of Texas, or BCL of Texas. And we also have with us Valerie Lugo, who is a financial empowerment specialist with BCL of Texas. Thank you, Valerie. So we hope to answer all of your questions. There's a lot of information to go through. Should you have any questions at the end, we will open it up for Q&A. Other than that, we will get started. So I'll go ahead and pull up the presentation. And let's see. And Robert, as soon as I pull it up, we'll have you take it away, okay?
So, good evening. As Kimberly stated, my name is Robert Joyner with JQuad Planning Group. We're the planning consultant and program administrator for the City of DeSoto's Community Development Block Program. Next slide. And as a part of the program, the city, go ahead, yeah. So as a part of this program, the city is using funds from its 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program to fund the down payment assistance program. In addition, this is also DeSoto's business plan, goal number 4, to improve affordable housing options and increase home ownership for DeSoto residents. The use of the CDBG funds under this category is specifically limited to assisting low to moderate income households. Next slide. So what we want to get accomplished today in going over the down payment assistance program is to provide a general overview of the program, general requirements needed to qualify for the program. We want to discuss the application process, and then the actual steps you will need to take to actually apply for the program. Once I'm finished going over the program in its entirety, I'm going to hand it over to Pamela Garcia. She's with BCL of Texas, and she's going to go over what's called the homebuyers education course that is required in order to receive and qualify for the program. So when I finish, we'll hand it over to her, and then we'll open it up for questions from that point. So the down payment assistance program, what it is it provides down payment assistance to first-time home buyers. Assistance is provided up to $10,000, and it can be used towards eligible down payment and closing costs. The assistance is provided in the form of a deferred payment loan, which is secured by a second lien. Next slide. Qualifications for the down payment assistance program. It's currently for residents that live in the city of DeSoto, households with income that's at or below 80% of the area median income, and a first-time home buyer or someone who has not owned a home within the last 3 years. Additional qualifications. The property, it must be located within the city of DeSoto, and the property must be your primary residence. The home buyer must contribute a minimum of $1,000 or 2% of the purchase price, whichever is less. And the home buyer must agree to live in the home as their primary residence for a minimum of 5 years. This is known as an affordability period. Here is a chart that provides the maximum annual household income, which is based on household size. This amount is determined by HUD, and it's updated annually. And this is showing us a household size up to a household size of 5. In this case, the maximum income would be $74,500 needed to the income needed to qualify for the program. Additional requirements: so the home buyer must meet income and credit requirements of the mortgage lender. So those are traditional guidelines that are required for most mortgages. They're required to meet those minimum income and credit requirements. This part is really important. It must complete a home buyer education course through BCL of Texas or any HUD-approved housing counseling agency. And as stated earlier, at the end of my presentation, Pamela Garcia with BCL, she's going to provide more information about the home buyer education course. So all loans are accepted, meaning you're allowed to do an FHA loan, a VA loan, all conventional loans. However, the maximum allowable term for those mortgages are 30 years. So 30 years, 20, 15, 10, so on. But the terms of the loans cannot exceed 30 years. The maximum allowable interest rate is 2% above the current market rate, which is determined by Freddie Mac's primary mortgage market survey for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And again, that's a maximum interest rate of 2% above the current market rate. A borrower's home mortgage debt service, which is called their front-end ratio, that may not exceed 35% nor be less than 10%. And a borrower's total debt-to-income ratio, which is known as the back-end ratio, that may not exceed 45%. Next. So the deferred payment loans, they do not accrue interest, and the loan is forgiven after 60 months, better known as 5-year affordability period. The buyer must repay the amount of assistance if the home is sold before the end of the 5-year affordability period. The city of DeSoto will hold a second lien position through what's known as a subordinate deed of trust, and that's to secure the deferred payment loan against the property. Next. So maximum home sales price. This is 95% of the area median purchase price, and this home ownership value limit is determined annually by HUD. What this is saying is the maximum home for a newly constructed home, the maximum home price will be 95% of $251,000, which is for a newly constructed home, and 95% of $237,000, which is for an existing home. The appraised value and price of the property, it cannot exceed this limit. Next. Additional guidelines for the property. The property must be located within DeSoto city limits. The property must pass a housing inspection. Government-owned properties are not eligible. New homes are eligible. However, the property must be ready for occupancy. This means no spec homes. Vacant homes are okay. They have to have been vacant for a minimum of 90 days. 1, 2 are occupied by the owner/seller, or currently rented by the applicant applying for assistance. This explains the actual process when applying. So the first steps is completing an online education course through BCL of Texas or any HUD-approved housing counseling agency. Next steps would be to contact the lender, which this is the point where you're going to apply, become pre-approved for a mortgage. The lender is going to contact the CDBG coordinator, which is us of the city. Then the buyer is going to contact the realtor who want to find a home, and then they're going to submit their application to the city. The lender, at this point, the lender is going to send us a completed assistance application package with the supporting documents, and the city is going to review it for final approval. And once approved, the funds will be released at closing, much like you would do at a standard closing process. So, how to apply for this program? The application and the checklist of supporting documents are available on the city's website, and they will probably provide a link to it, and maybe in the chat box, provide a link. This is important. The city of DeSoto will accept reservations as long as funds are available, and additional funds may be allocated to the program in the future, depending on fund availability. Next. All right, so any questions after this presentation, you may call the city at this number or email downpayment.assistance@desototexas.gov. Any questions that may come up after this presentation that you'd like to submit. So that ends my portion of the down payment assistance program, and I'm pretty sure there's questions, and we want to address those questions. However, we want to give an opportunity for Pamela Garcia to chime in, and she's going to provide more details about the homebuyer homebuyer education course through BCL. So Pamela, if you want to take it over.
Thank you, Robert, and good evening, everyone. As you guys have heard, my name is Pam Garcia. I am a homeownership specialist with BCL at Texas. We are a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to help Texans achieve homeownership and build their assets. Next slide, please. And a little bit about us. So we are a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. And myself and my coworker, Valerie, are HUD-approved housing counselors. So we are specifically trained and certified to help you assess your financial situation, evaluate options, if you're having trouble paying your mortgage loan, and actually make a plan to help you get help with your mortgage or to help you get a mortgage. So this is where we would come in and determine if you guys are on the fence of, should I even buy a house? We can talk to you through the process. In addition, I'm going to have my coworker Valerie talk about our education. Next slide, please.
So thank you. I'm Valerie. I'm the face in the Dallas office here locally. So what I wanted to touch on is our services for counseling and education. So one of the requirements that you mentioned for this DPA is homebuyer education. That is a HUD-approved counseling course. It's geared for 8 hours, but we partner with eHome America to provide that online platform. So a couple of things that we want to mention that's not on this slide is because we're partnering with DeSoto down payment program, we were able to provide a discount for those that are interested in the down payment program. So that discount, eHome America has a regular fee of $99 to register for the online course, but we're providing the city with a $25 off coupon. So that's going to be a total price of $75 for you to complete the course online. I will share that information within the chat after hearing my speech here. So a couple of things I also wanted to share is my contact information. So if you have any direct questions, you're always able to contact me directly. But what we do in our pre-purchase counseling, so we encourage anyone who is interested in buying a home to do one-on-one counseling. It's going to be different for everyone, but what we do is a pre-assessment. We are trying to see, are you ready? One of the things that Robert also mentioned about ratios, he brought up front end, back end ratios. We touch on that during our counseling sessions. So not only are we evaluating your personal finances, we are looking at your affordability levels in terms of what financing options are you able to apply for, if it's an FHA, conventional, if you're interested in USDA, VA. We look at all that based on your needs. Next slide. Oh, so another slide for contact information. A couple of things that I wanted to touch on. All this information is available on our website. So if you want to kind of check us out, go to our main website, which is bcloftexas.org. Any of our classes are going to be under our housing and home ownership. And then we also have some upcoming events that we wanted to share as well. So April is Financial Literacy Month. So if you go to our website and click on Contact Us, we do have an event calendar that provides all our financial literacy classes that we're having for the month of April. And then we're also hosting a homebuyer fair next weekend. So we would encourage everyone who's interested to join us then and there. And then I'll also share those links in the chat as well. Do y'all have any questions?
I'll unmute that. All right. Thank you to Robert, our CDBG consultant with JQuad Planning, Pamela and Valerie with BCL of Texas, and to our additional panelists, Cruz. At this point, we definitely like to open it up for Q&A. Before we do that, I'd also like to just let everyone know who's watching either through Facebook Live or through Zoom. We do have a dedicated website for the Down Payment Assistance Program. You can go to the City of DeSoto website, and there's a burgundy ribbon at the top that will say Community. And once you click on Community, a drop down will give you an option, and you can click on Down Payment Assistance. That webpage will also include this video, PowerPoint presentation. We have a nice brochure, and we also have other guidelines for residents who are interested in the program, lender guidelines, and a full document that goes over the entire program, guidelines for the down payment assistance program. And with that, I will open it up to questions. Anyone on Zoom, if you can raise your hand, and then we'll try to promote you over. Let's see. Okay, looks like we have a couple of hands. So I am going to first promote June. Okay. June, if you can unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay, well, my question is probably for Pam Garcia, but anyone that has that can tell me. So I'm trying to help unravel this for my friend's son, who has a lot of problems with credit, does have a job, but has a lot of credit card and a card note. So I think that goes to debt. So he's having trouble getting a loan, and he's worried about like how much, the loans that they've talked to him are really high. So my question is, I guess, like, what is the current market rate? Because with this program, they won't let it be more than 2% of the current market rate, and they're quoting him really high prices because, I guess, credit problems. Do you know what is current market rate?
And are you talking about the interest rate, like the current interest rates that are going on?
Well, honestly, there's a lot of info here. I don't fully understand it. So I
think that's what you're referring to, June.
Yeah, and I just wrote down what you said, like it can't be more than 2% above. And if I read my own note, I think it says it's current something rate. Yeah, I think it's the interest rate.
Got it. Yeah, the interest rate, as far as I know, is at a 2.75. So they're probably getting him at a higher interest rate because of his credit score or maybe other issues that he might have. But he sounds like a perfect candidate for pre-purchase counseling. Typically, on average, we counsel our clients for about 6 months. If they have, things that they can fix themselves. So we're not a credit repair agency where we, do the actual fixing of the credit. We educate and let you do that actual, have the solutions for your problems, but also guide you and give you the tools, all that's necessary. And at the end of the day, it's more of just understanding what is actually needed from you. And, we help you write that goal down and then work backwards of what is it going to take to get there? Do you need to pay down your debt in order to increase your credit score? In addition, work with those debt to income ratios that Robert had mentioned earlier. So we go through all the numbers and it's super personalized. It's not like a one fit all, but everybody has that same goal of home ownership. So we just want to prepare so, he doesn't get any surprises when he goes to a lender, which he has already, and that surprise did happen, which is that big interest rate.
It did. Yeah.
So we would want to get him and let him know, the reason why your credit score is this way is because of, XYZ reason when we review his credit report with him, and really take that time to educate.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, please, because he's worked with Habitat for Humanity about seeing, if they can help him with this. And does anything that he's done with Habitat, they want you to work so many hours as you work into their program. Does that have anything, do we take that into consideration here? Does it help at all?
I think that's a question for Robert. Would Habitat be able to use the DPA towards their loan?
So to answer that question more broadly, you can obtain additional funding with other programs. The city, however, requires that by giving a deferred payment loan, they remain in the second lien position. So if they receive additional subsidies, as long as whoever's providing that subsidy, they agree to subordinate or, take the lien position under the city, then it is something that can be done.
Okay.
This is James Gillian. You also need to be aware, though, that Habitat's programs are generally structured to help you with your equity investment by allowing you to make some of the improvements or contribute to the labor in building that home.
Right.
And that particular type of program would not qualify as down payment or those kinds of things.
Okay.
Because the transaction is strictly between the city and providing you with the down payment funds at closing. The remainder of the process is up to you in terms of selecting a mortgage company to finance the home, a realtor to allow you to assistance to purchase the home.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. It's just so much to go through. I want to make sure I asked the questions. I have one more. I know there are other people. I'll hurry up. Just one quick question. So what happens if, he feels like he's over his head and he doesn't repay the loan? I'm not going to encourage anyone to do that. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we just want to look ahead. What if he doesn't repay the loan? It's still, obviously it's still an obligation. That's my question. What happens if you don't repay the loan?
Right. So the loan is based on actually living in the home. Now, if I understand your question, are you referring to the assistance that the city provides or the loan that the lender provides?
The city.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, ma'am. What I'll do is I want to get more information about that because that is a very good question to get back to you. But generally speaking, it's based on living in the home. Whatever the remaining amount is from the home, that is the amount that you're responsible for if you sell the home or leave the home before the affordability period. again,
So if he maintains it, stays in the home for 5 years, it's forgiven. He doesn't repay it.
Correct.
Oh, all right. Okay, great. That's a great answer. Okay, that's why I didn't understand. He'll love that. Thank you.
Now, again, that's only for the city's down payment of up to $10,000.
Right.
But you'd still be responsible for your.
Right. He still has to pay his bills. He still has to pay the mortgage. I understand that. And have to stay there. I understand.
Okay, yeah, because after 5 years, if they have successfully paid their mortgage payments, the city would then forgive that grant amount or forgivable loan, and we would remove the lien against the property.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. June. All right, let's see. Okay, so the next hand that is raised, looks like it's a caller number 264028. I am going to promote you. And if you can unmute 264028.
Hi, this is Leanna Whitaker. And my question was, if I wrote this down correctly, the range of the low to moderate income for one person in the household, the max amount was $48,300. So that's the max of your income. That's the most you can make, correct?
In that case, did you say a one-person household?
Yes. So if you make more than that, you don't qualify for this.
Correct.
Okay.
And either Robert or James, can you guys elaborate the reason for that? Because we are receiving funds through CDBG. This is a CDBG program. We're getting it through HUD, and that's why there are income limits, because this program serves low to moderate income individuals.
That's correct. That is a HUD requirement.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so the next person I'm going to promote over is T-E-E. If you could unmute, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I have lived in DeSoto for about 15 years. I just recently moved 2 months ago to Dallas. Would that disqualify me from this program?
Again, you said...
Yes, the current requirement is that you have to be a current resident of the city of DeSoto in order to participate in the program. So if you no longer have and can demonstrate that you either have a lease or in your name utility bills to establish an address, and that you actually have residency in DeSoto along with the driver's license with that address, then unfortunately we would not be able to qualify you.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to just say that this is just one down payment assistance program out of a whole lot of them out there. So this meeting is specifically about the DeSoto down payment assistance program. But if you're living in Dallas now, and this is, the city that you're staying in, then that city has its own down payment assistance program along with other organizations that have them. So don't be discouraged if you're still looking to purchase a home. There are other programs out there that are very similar in nature to this DeSoto one. So please reach out to us. We work with just about all those programs and can tell you about them, on a general basis and see if they're a good fit for you, okay?
Yes, I just hadn't heard of many of them helping with closing costs. Most of them just help with the down payment.
I can tell you from firsthand experience that there are some that will help you with closing costs and everything. It just really depends on your situation, but I just want you to just stay steadfast, and we can help you out with looking for one that would fit your situation.
And who would I reach out to get that information?
Reaching out to Valerie, BCL of Texas, anybody at BCL of Texas and the Home Ownership Center would be able to answer any of those questions for you and work with you to achieve that.
Okay. Even if I'm not going to go through your program?
Even if you're not going to go through the DeSoto DPA, because it wouldn't work for you at this point, essentially all you have to do is talk to us, do some of that pre-purchase counseling. The pre-purchase counseling does not cost you anything. It's a free service that we provide through a lot of other grants that we receive. And it's just a matter of having a conversation as to what you're looking for, what your specific financial situation is, and there probably is going to be a program out there, just depending on the income limit.
And James or Robert, I have a follow-up question to that. So what if a client says that they're actually interested in living in DeSoto and they have a property? Would they still be able to kind of go through y'all's down payment, or they actually have to be a resident?
They have to be a current resident.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have some more questions. Next person I'm going to promote over is Jasmine Handsome. Jasmine, if you can unmute, please.
Good evening. How are you all? So thank you so much for this platform. Again, my name is Jasmine Handsome. I'm a local realtor, and I had 3 questions. So the first question, I may have missed it. I think I came on about 5 minutes late, and it went rather quickly. So the lender requirements, are there specific requirements as to which mortgage company you all are working with? If I have, a lender that my clients are specifically wanting to work with, will they be able to partner with the city, or do they have to be on a preferred list?
No, there's no preferred lender list at this time. So they would be free to work with any lender they're choosing.
Awesome. So my next question is, you were very specific in saying DeSoto residents. I myself am a Glen Heights resident, which we share school district with DeSoto. Though we have our own, mayor and city council, we're still kind of a part of DeSoto. So, how does that work? How does that differentiate it?
Actually, James, can you kind of chime in on that one? And because that is a common question.
Yeah, the way in which the city's program is structured, the applicant has to be a current resident of the city of DeSoto. And that means they have to demonstrate through driver's license or lease agreement, utilities, and those kinds of things that they actually have residency currently as they apply for this particular grant. And the reason for that is that we have, of course, limited funding for the program. And the city and the city council were very much interested in prioritizing support to existing city residents first. So for this current program, we're limiting it to those who currently reside within the city of DeSoto. As Cruz indicated earlier, though, that does not mean that you wouldn't, again, they would not, you or anyone else would not qualify for other programs to purchase a house in DeSoto. It's just that you would not qualify for this particular down payment assistance at this time.
Very well understood. I just, was curious because we share school district. My last question, and then I'll turn it over to someone else. Kimberly, I'm not sure if you can answer this question for me, or if any of you all know. Right now, we have an inventory shortage. And so we're offering a program which looks like it's going to be great for a lot of consumers. But then the problem is, as an agent, when I put in an offer, my client's offers may be beat out by those that are paying more than appraised value. We're competing with investors. So is there something that the city is doing to open up available inventory, or to allow for specific homes at specific prices? Like, I know the city of Dallas and even Fort Worth offer specific listings have to be sold to individuals who are low to moderate income. So right now, it's almost as if if there isn't something to that nature, we'd be pushing our candidates off into a deep end, and there'd be nothing for them.
I do appreciate that question, Ms. Handsome. I actually will have to look into that. Right now, I don't believe our program is structured like how Dallas is, but that is something we can certainly research and look into.
Kimberly, I think I can help a little bit with that question. The other cities, in addition to receiving funding through the Community Development Block Grant to provide the down payment, they do have other homeowner programs, and they have other funding under one of the entitlement programs called Home. So they have some other options in terms of homes that will be either in their inventory or that they'll have access to that they can couple with the down payment. Unfortunately, because DeSoto is a small city, we don't receive those other grants. So at the time, the only thing that we have is the down payment. So we're subject to the market as is, and we don't have the ability to either acquire homes and then resell them or to influence the market at all. It's strictly a down payment for those who are low and moderate income by HUD standards.
Understood. Thank you.
Right, so the next hand we're going to promote is Natoya. If you can unmute Natoya.
Yes, ma'am. Question is, I've been residing with someone that's in DeSoto, and my driving license had to be changed over because that's where I was receiving all my mail and my my work information. So because I'm living with someone in DeSoto, do I not qualify?
We would have to consider that on a case-by-case basis, but I can tell you if your driver's license shows that you are a DeSoto resident, there may be some additional documentation that would have to be provided by the person who owns the home or apartment that you're living with, but that's something that we could certainly work with you on. The stipulation is that you do have to be a current resident, so we would have to make sure that you have adequate documentation to certify that. But that's not uncommon.
But since all the things had went on with COVID, I end up moving there because I lost my apartment in Dallas. So how long do I have to be a resident, or is there a certain time limit that I have to have lived there?
No, it's not a time limit stipulation. You have to demonstrate, though, that you are and were a DeSoto resident at the time that you apply for the program.
Okay. So how do I find out what information do I need to collect in order for me to go forward with seeing if I qualify?
Yeah, if you will just contact us so that we can discuss your specific situation, then and get some more data from you, then we could give you some direction.
Okay, Mr. James, I came in late, and I really do thank you guys. Appreciate all the information that y'all have given out. So I came in pretty late. So where do I get the contact information from?
The number that you can contact us is 972-230.
Yes, ma'am.
972-230-7355.
Is there anyone particular that I need to ask for?
No, ma'am. That is our down payment assistance phone number. If you call, just leave a message, and I will return your call. Also, we do have an email that you can reach out to us. It is downpaymentAssistance@DeSotoTexas.gov.
Down payment assistance, DeSoto.
Down payment assistance at DeSoto, Texas, spelled out, .gov.
Okay. Okay, thank y'all. I really appreciate everything that you guys are doing for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. next hand is, I'll spell it Nesanet. If you can unmute. I think that's pronounced Nesanet.
Hi, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm at work trying to do two things at once. My question is, looking at the financial bracket with the, I think, 53,000 or 55,000 for a two-person household. Are there homes in DeSoto that would qualify with a lender with that salary, or the person making that amount of money?
So that's the point where we want to direct you to your housing, the homebuyers education course, because they're going to be the ones to kind of do the pre-qualification. They go to the kind of assess that, and then your lender ultimately will be able to determine how much you qualify for at that income bracket.
I mean, I'm asking that because I've been looking online as if I'm not ready to purchase a home right now. I do need assistance. And looking at some of the homes that are listed, like 251,000 is like in the lower numbers. Like all of the houses in DeSoto are like over 250 or 300,000. I mean, it's an ideal place to live. I'm living with family there, but I was just wondering, is that like a realistic goal to set, making only 55,000 and under, and trying to buy a nice home in DeSoto?
Let me help you with that one. This is James Gillian. The program is primarily designed by HUD to assist low and moderate income persons. And in the case of this particular program, we are obligated to observe the HUD income limits for those family sizes. So it would be up to you to try and work with your realtor. We understand that within the city of DeSoto, there are many homes that are going to be priced above the 251,000, but HUD's aim is to assist low and moderate income persons. So if you're earning, by real estate standards, if you're earning, say 50, whatever your household income is, generally without considering your ratios and so forth, it's 4 times your income in terms of your buying power. So you just have to work with BLC and also with your realtor and your mortgage company to determine, what inventory is out there that would fit. But we can't change those requirements of HUD.
Is there a year, as far as like when the home was built, that it also is required under the grant, like when your house has been built, or is it like any year?
Yeah,
older homes in DeSoto might qualify for what I do.
And as you noted I'm not sure if you saw the previous slides, but the slide indicated that there is a maximum price for new construction, and then there's a maximum price for an existing home. So the program, the down payment assistance program, you are eligible to purchase either of an existing home or a new construction home. So it's not just limited to new construction.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Miss Tammy Galloway, if you can unmute, please.
Yes, can everyone hear me? Yes. Okay, thank you. So I have a question, and it's for my daughter, and it's really piggybacking off of the realtor's question. So, in DeSoto or any other area where you may put a contract out on a house and then someone outbids you. So my question is, can the person who's qualified add additional funds to the $10,000 grant to be able to purchase the home?
So if I understand your question, you're asking, can the purchase price exceed those limits if you pay the difference?
Yes, that is one scenario. But the other scenario could be that, let's say that there's a newly constructed home for, $251, but at $48,000, in my calculations, you would have to have a $50,000 income to qualify for a $250,000 house. So, could the prospective home buyer add more money past the $10,000 to be able to purchase a home?
The first test is that the house price, whether it be new construction or existing construction, cannot exceed that HUD standard in terms of price. So what you see in our slide is the 2020 limit in terms of existing home price and new construction. If that goes up, then we'll go with the 2021 figure when it comes out. You cannot exceed the purchase price on the home above those limits. So even though a scenario would be if the home costs $275,000 and the limit is $250,000, you cannot pay the $25,000 difference and still qualify. That home purchase price and the appraised value cannot exceed that HUD set standard.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense. And then I'm probably getting into the details too much about this, but what qualifies you for the maximum 10,000? Does everyone, if closing costs and down, does everyone qualify for the max of 10,000, or are there other criteria?
Yeah, you can qualify for up to $10,000. And the stipulation is, of course, it's based on each individual's income and its the purchase price and closing costs. But also, you must contribute $1,000 to your to the purchase of the home, so that either as down payment or closing costs, you have to have at least $1,000 that you're contributing. So you will have a range. The individual buyer can receive up to $10,000, not a blanket $10,000 for each particular applicant.
Thank you. And then my very last question is, how long does the grant approval process take?
We anticipate that it will take no longer than 30 days because we'll be working with the lender and the mortgage company throughout the process. So once you actually go through your mortgage qualification process, it won't take us very long because you will provide all the documentation to us. We just have to certify you based on our guidelines. We're not involved in the actual purchase transaction between you and the mortgage company or your realtor. So we will determine whether or not you qualify, and we provide the funding at the closing table when you close on your loan. So as we can process as soon as you have a complete application submitted.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I'd just like to echo the sentiments that we really appreciate everything that you are doing for the community.
James, I do want to just kind of go back to that first question that Tammy had asked about what a buyer can bring to the table in terms of adding their own funds on top of the assistance that is being provided by the DeSoto Down Payment Assistance Program. So just to kind of go back to that question, even if they met the standard of the purchase of the home price being below the maximums, right? So that would qualify them. are they able to bring more money, their own money, above the 1,000 to the table? And is there a max to that?
No. If I understand your question, as long as they do not exceed that appraised value and purchase price value requirement, they can contribute as much of their own individual income. So if they wanted to reduce the purchase price or the mortgage, if you will, by contributing $25,000 as additional down payment, they certainly have that ability to do that.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for asking that question, Cruz, and James for clarifying. Ms. Portia Johnson, if you could unmute, please.
Hi, yes. Thank you all for taking my question. My question was, one, can that also include purchasing a duplex? Would that qualify?
No. It's strictly for the purchase of a home that you will live in as your primary residence. So in purchasing a duplex, we would anticipate that there to be some type of additional resident occupying the home or paying rent. So it's not an investment property opportunity for you. It's strictly for homestead purposes, the home that you will be personally living in as your primary resident.
So, Mr. James,
I wouldn't be using it as investment. It would have been purchased as to live in. So, okay.
Can I just clarify real quick? It's referring to a single family detached dwelling.
Gotcha. Okay. And then just quickly, my second question is, y'all touched on this earlier with another caller but I wanted specifically, so I'm sharing a lease. I live in DeSoto. My primary residence on my address has always been my mom's, but I've always lived in DeSoto in my own apartment, but I am currently sharing a rental unit at an apartment with someone else. So if someone else is on the lease, would I be required, even though they wouldn't be living with my son and I once we purchase a home, would I be required to add them to the application process because they're on the lease?
No, you would not. You would not be adding them to your to the transaction. We'd have to verify your particular individual situation just to make sure that based on your documentation that you would qualify.
Okay, that's no problem. Thank you.
Okay, and it looks like we have one last hand, which is great because we have about 7 minutes. Miss Brandy Armstrong, if you can unmute, please.
Okay, hello. Thank you so much for helping us with this. My question is, because I may have missed some of it at the beginning, but if I am applying, and is the income limit based off of like the two people who would be on the application, or based off of the family size? Because there would be like 6 people that's in my house, it's like my husband and my 4 kids. So is that income based off of us two, or is it you the two?
The number, that's a really good question. It's based on the number of people in the household.
Okay.
I think you said it's your husband and was it 4?
Yes, 4 kids.
Correct. So yeah, but it would be the number of people in the household.
Okay. My next question is, if I were to apply
before you go to the next.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, before you go to the next question, I do want to emphasize that the income qualification will be based on both you and your husband's income combined.
Okay, that was my next question.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. That was my.
All right. Looks like we have actually one more hand. Alexis G. If you can unmute, please.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to know, is the income requirement based on previous tax returns or your current paycheck stubs? How is it determined?
It's going to be based on, if you're self-employed, that would be based on tax returns. If you're employed, then that would be based on recent pay stubs. It's basically the same documentation that a lender would request. So that would be either your paycheck stubs, or it could be, in addition, it could also be like your W-2 from the previous year as well. If you're self-employed, that's going to be tax returns. And if it's fixed income, that would actually be like an award letter verified through bank statements from who's ever providing that income.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like we have a couple of more minutes. I'd just like to ask our panelists, do you have any last comments that you would like to share? I know, Valerie, you included in the chat that website, which is www.homebuyerfair.com. Again, I just want to let anyone watching, any of our attendees, that this video, the presentation, will be posted on the down payment assistance website. But if any of our panelists want to share anything, please do.
Yes, this is Valerie. So one of the things that I wanted to share and just emphasize is pre-purchase counseling. So remember, you do got to get approved for your first mortgage before you apply for down payment assistance. There was a lot of talk about, the client has to put in at least $1,000 of their own money. So one of the things that we also kind of analyze is, one, there's upfront costs that you're going to have to provide during the process. You're going to have to provide down payment, and then you also have to think about closing. So when we're doing pre-purchase counseling, we're trying to make the best estimates as possible based on your income, right? Because your income is your source of getting approved for your mortgage. We also look at credit, right? Your credit has to be at par to be able to apply for a mortgage. And then we also look at assets. So we look at everything that a mortgage loan officer would be requesting. So one of the things that we try to emphasize is know your numbers. To be able to be an empowered consumer is being able to know, what do you qualify for? What questions do I need to ask my loan officer? How do I ask questions to my realtor? So those are things that you want to know, because we are your home ownership team. So a housing counselor, a realtor, a loan officer are going to be working with you from the very beginning to the end. The benefit of working for a housing counselor with the housing counselor is we don't have an interest in your purchase. Remember, we are a HUD agency. All our services are free. So we are doing this for you, so that way you can be empowered to go out into the market and be able to know what am I, to guide you through this process from the very beginning to the end.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that, Valerie. And I want to reiterate, anyone watching, you can contact BCL at 214-688-7456, extension number 4. I don't know, Valerie, if that goes to you or Pamela. Does it? Oh, okay, so it does go to Valerie.
It goes directly to me.
Okay, 214-688-7456, extension 4. In case anyone has any questions after this, please do not hesitate to contact the City of DeSoto should you have any questions. If I don't know, we will certainly put you in contact with either BCL, or I'll reach out to JQuad, who provides technical assistance for our CDBG program. You can contact the Down Payment Assistance line, which is again 972-230-7355, or simply email downpaymentassistance at DeSoto.texas.gov. It's right on the dot at 7 o'clock. Oh, okay, Cruz, you popped up. Okay. Oh, yes, Valerie's email is vlugo, VLUGO at bcltexas.org. Again, should you have any questions, please reach out. We'll post all this information on the down payment assistance webpage on City of DeSoto. Again, thank you, panelists. Thank you to our City Council. Once again, this is a City Council goal and initiative. This would not be possible without DeSoto City Council's support and initiative. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.